I never thought a simple mirror could shatter my entire existence, expose my deepest fears, and reveal a life I never knew was possible. But it did. Just last week, my reflection stopped being mine. It started with a flicker, a subtle shift in the eyes staring back at me, a hint of a smile that wasn't quite my own. Then it escalated. Now, when I look into any reflective surface, I see her, a version of me from a parallel universe living a life I can only dream of. And the terrifying part? She's trying to communicate. The secrets she's revealing are twisting my reality, forcing me to question everything I thought I knew about happiness, love, and who I truly am. This isn't just a story about a mirror. It's about looking deep inside and finding a stranger staring back. Enjoy the ride. My name is Amelia, and for 29 years, my life had been, well, predictable. Not bad, just stable. I had a decent job as a graphic designer at a small agency in the city, a cozy apartment with the window overlooking a bustling street, and a long term boyfriend, Ben. Ben was kind, reliable, always remembered my favorite coffee order, a double shot latte with oat milk and a dash of cinnamon. He was a data analyst, meticulous and logical, a perfect counterpoint to my slightly messy, creatively driven self. Our evenings were a ritual. We'd cook dinner, watch a documentary, sometimes talk about our day, sometimes just enjoy the comfortable silence. It was the kind of life you'd scroll past on social media and think, nice. But lately, a dull ache had settled in my chest, a quiet whisper that something was missing, like a beautiful painting that needed one vibrant stroke to truly come alive. It started subtly. Just over a week ago, I was getting ready for work, brushing my long, dark brown hair, when I caught a glimpse of myself in the bathroom mirror. My eyes, usually a calm hazel, seemed to hold a fleeting spark, a mischievous glint I hadn't seen in years. I blinked. It was gone. Just tired, Amelia, I mumbled to my actual reflection, who looked as weary as I felt. Later that day, at the coffee shop, as I waited for my latte, I glanced at my reflection in the polished surface of the espresso machine. For a split second, the woman looking back had a vibrant, almost electric blue streak in her hair. My heart did a little flutter. I blinked again, and it was just my plain brown hair. Too much caffeine already, I chuckled, dismissing it. But it kept happening. In shop windows, in my phone screen, even in the polished chrome of the toaster, fleeting glimpses of a different Amelia. Sometimes she wore clothes I wouldn't dare, a bright red leather jacket, a bohemian skirt. Sometimes her smile was wider, her posture more confident, her gaze brimming with an unspoken excitement. It was like watching a ghost, a shimmering, elusive version of myself just beyond my grasp. Ben, of course, thought I was overworked. Maybe you need a vacation, babe, he'd said, gently rubbing my temples after I'd tried to explain the mirage Amelias I was seeing. You've been staring at screens too much. His practicality, usually so comforting, felt dismissive. How could I explain this wasn't about fatigue? This was about something fundamental, shifting. The real terror began when the reflections started moving independently. One morning, as I was tying my low ponytail, my reflection in the mirror smiled at me. A full, radiant smile, while my face remained neutral, slightly concerned. My hand froze in midair. My breath hitched. Her smile was infectious, but it was also unsettling. It was a smile of someone who knew a secret, a thrilling, life-altering secret. Then her hand, my hand, slowly lifted in the mirror, and she subtly pointed to something just outside the frame of my reality. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the silence of the bathroom. What was she trying to tell me? And what if I wasn't ready to know? The morning after my reflection first acted on its own, I was a wreck. I couldn't eat, couldn't focus. The image of her smiling, pointing hand was burned into my mind. Ben, noticing my pale face and distant stare, suggested I take the day off. "You look like you've seen a ghost, Aim," he said, his brow furrowed with genuine concern. If only he knew. I mumbled something about a migraine,
and he, ever the practical one, went to work, leaving me alone with my unsettling new reality. I spent the morning cautiously approaching every reflective surface in the apartment: the bathroom mirror, the shiny kettle, even the dark screen of my turned off laptop. Nothing. My own reflection stared back, familiar and unthreatening. Was I losing my mind? Just as I was about to dismiss it all as a stress induced hallucination, I saw it again. I was pouring myself a glass of water, and the sun caught the window pane, turning it into a momentary mirror. There she was, my reflection, but not my Amelia. Her dark brown hair was pulled into a messy, artful bun with that vibrant electric blue streak woven through it. She wore a loose, brightly patterned silk scarf and a confident, almost mischievous smirk. And this time, she didn't just point. Her lips moved slowly, deliberately, forming a single word: risk. The sound, or rather the idea of the sound, echoed in my head. Risk? What risk? My Amelia recoiled, my glass of water nearly slipping from my trembling fingers. This wasn't a hallucination, this was a message. Over the next few days, other Amelia became more frequent, more insistent. She'd appear in the most mundane places: the stainless steel fridge door, the glass of my smartphone, the glossy cover of a magazine. Sometimes she'd show me quick flashes of objects: a passport, a paintbrush covered in vibrant colors, a ticket stub to a concert I'd always wanted to see but never bought. Other times, her face would contort into expressions I rarely allowed myself: pure joy, fierce determination, even a hint of wild sorrow. It was like watching a movie of a life I could have lived, a life brimming with an intensity that my own had slowly leached away. I started to notice details: her eyes, still hazel, but with a deeper, richer hue, sparkling with life. Her clothes, always more adventurous, more expressive. And the subtle lines around her eyes and mouth, signs of laughter, and perhaps a few more tears than I'd shed. She was me, but more. My own life, in contrast, felt increasingly muted. Ben noticed my preoccupation. "You're not yourself, Aim," he'd say, his voice laced with concern. "Is it work? Are you happy?" Happy? The word felt hollow. I loved Ben, I truly did. He was a good man. But looking at other Amelia, with her audacious spirit and uninhibited expressions, made me question what happy even meant anymore. Was my stable, predictable life truly fulfilling? Or was it just comfortable? One evening, as I stared blankly at a TV screen showing a travel show, other Amelia appeared on the glass. She pressed her hand against the surface, and I instinctively mirrored her, my palm meeting the cold glass. Then, with a look of profound urgency, she mouthed another word, her eyes wide with a plea. Choose. My heart pounded. Choose what? Between my safe existence and the untold possibilities she represented? The choice felt monumental, terrifying, and undeniably compelling. Choose. The word echoed in my mind for days, a relentless drumbeat against the quiet hum of my conventional life. Other Amelia had become my constant, silent companion, appearing less like a fleeting image and more like a solid, spectral presence, always urging me, always showing me glimpses of her vibrant, sometimes chaotic, but undeniably alive world. I saw her laughing with a group of friends in a bustling foreign market, her hands stained with vibrant dyes. I saw her sketching furiously in a sun-drenched studio, her face smudged with paint. And I saw her once, holding hands with a man whose face was always just out of focus, but whose touch seemed to electrify her. My stable life with Ben, once my anchor, now felt like a cage, albeit a very comfortable one. Every oat milk latte he brought me, every gentle documentary we watched, felt like a reminder of the nice life I was living, instead of the electric one other Amelia seemed to inhabit. What was I supposed to choose? The breaking point came during our weekly dinner at Ben's parents' house. His mother, a sweet woman named Carol, had gently asked, "So, Amelia, when are you and Ben going to start a family?" It was a question I'd heard countless times, a natural progression for a couple like us. But this time I saw other Amelia shimmering in the reflection of my wine glass. Her eyes, usually so bright, were filled with a profound sadness, almost regret. She shook her head, almost imperceptibly. It was a silent, powerful no. A wave of nausea washed over me. I excused myself, rushing to the bathroom. There, in the polished chrome of the tap, other Amelia was clearer than ever. She was crying, silent tears tracing paths down her cheeks, her vibrant blue streak muted against her flushed face. Her lips moved, and this time the word was painfully clear. Don't. Don't marry him? Don't have children? Don't settle? The terror was overwhelming, but so was the clarity. Other Amelia was showing me the consequence of her choices, the path she had avoided. She was giving me a second chance at a first choice. That night, I had the hardest conversation of my life with Ben. His kind, logical eyes searched mine, bewildered, hurt. "Is there someone else, Amy?" he'd asked, his voice barely a whisper. "No, Ben," I said, my voice thick with tears. It's it's me. It's about the life I'm living and the life I know I'm meant to live." It was cruel, unfair, and utterly necessary. Breaking his heart broke mine. But I knew with a certainty that transcended logic that I had to choose a different path. The next morning, I packed a small bag. I quit my job, gave notice on the apartment, and bought a one-way ticket to a city I'd only ever dreamed of visiting, a city other Amelia had shown me in her vibrant flashes. Florence. It was impulsive, terrifying, and utterly liberating. As I sat on the plane looking out the window, I saw her one last time. Other Amelia. She was smiling, a wide, joyful grin, her eyes sparkling with unshed tears, but these were tears of relief, of pure, unadulterated happiness. She gave me a slight nod, a silent blessing, then faded, leaving behind only my own reflection. But it wasn't the same reflection. My hazel eyes held a newfound spark, a glimmer of that mischievous excitement I'd only seen in her. My posture was straighter. My smile, though still tentative, held the promise of something truly authentic. I learned that day that true happiness isn't found in comfort or predictability. It's found in the courage to choose the path less traveled, even when it means breaking hearts, including your own. Sometimes the greatest love story you can live is with yourself, finding the version of you that was always meant to be. What about you? Have you ever felt a pull towards a different version of yourself? A life you know deep down you should be living? Or have you settled for comfort over passion? It's a question worth reflecting on. Maybe, just maybe, your own reflection is trying to tell you something.